think we still have people from various places joining. Please, if you can also turn on your cameras as much as possible so that we can see you, that would be perfect. Thank you so much. Welcome to day 2. We are almost halfway. And we're going to do a quick check-in while others join. For those of you who are new to this sessions, we had a very productive first day, looking at some of the challenges that were selected by you. And we are quite intensively focusing on the group work today, although we are going to start with an inspirational talk, which is, I think, a very good way of bringing us all together to this room. My name is Maria Soledad Sole Riestra. I'm the Training and Learning Advisor for FACS team, Food and Agricultural Commodity Systems at UNDP. For those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome to this problem-solving workshop, day 2 of 3. And for the sake of time, and considering that we have some new people joining us, which is always a wonderful thing, it would be great to hear like a one breath, 1 or 2 sentences summary of any insights or learnings from yesterday that you are kind of bringing back to the room today as we reconnect with this work. So who would like to go to break the ice already, break the virtual ice? I can scroll and choose. Let's see.
Actually,
yes, of course.
Yeah, so for those of you I haven't met yet, I'm Patty Christensen with the FOLUR Global Platform in Washington, D.C. And we are trying so hard to connect to the FOLUR Country Projects Teams and hear what they're doing and understand how we can help. And it just really struck me yesterday that this process is very powerful. And I would love to do it with a couple, at least a few country project teams. So get Ethiopia, the team together and do it there, in Brazil and wherever. So please, I'm asking a favor of you guys as we go through today. If you know a country project team that has a particular interest, let's talk and let's see how we could do it with the team itself, because this is a very cool process. I really like it. Thanks.
Thank you, Patricia. And it's an amazing invitation. Oh, we have a hand raised. Malika, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to be part of this process. Like it was said, it's a very powerful process, and it gave me insight to go. I did go back and looked through those challenges, and I tried to go through the whys for each challenge and tried to find solutions. And there were some solutions I really didn't think about before. So for me, it's positive already. I cannot finish with you. I gained something. No, I'm finishing the process with you. Thank you very much.
That's fantastic, Malika. Thank you so much. And thank you, Patty, for opening up this conversation, which feels so powerful and relevant, because the idea is also, how do we take the experience of today and of this workshop further? How can this be in service of the work that needs to be done in each country? So thank you very much for very organically creating that conversation. Anyone else that would like to react or respond to this, or just share anything else that you've that feels that needs to be shared?
Yes, can I talk?
Yeah,
Teresa?
of course.
Yeah,
Teresa,
the
yeah.
thing is, I am late because I was trying to find the link and I couldn't find it. I only had to register all over again. Where is the link in our emails or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, that is a very good point. And I think due to the way that the events are managed via Zoom every day, you have to kind of register unless Carlota, no? Okay, because I had to register as well. Maybe Lavi, you can enlighten us with
Thank
how to
you.
do it without registering.
Thank you.
Thank you. When you register the first time, you should have received like a reply named by Carlota of FACS community in your inbox, which has the link, join the meeting, and that's the same for all the 3 days.
I don't think I have, but I'll look again.
Yeah. I'll look at that again myself as well, and maybe Carlota, if you can help us look into it. Thank you, Teresa, for bringing that up. And what we can do for the third day is to just send an email, maybe with the link directly, see if that works. So thank you. Yes, anything else before we jump into our agenda for the day and our inspirational talk, which I'm really very much looking forward to. And I'm going to share my screen while...
I just wanted to say yesterday I really appreciated the diverse thoughts and opinions that everyone brought to the discussion, and it was definitely fruitful discussions in the group I was allocated, and I'm looking forward to continue today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Meg. And yeah, certainly it is a wonderful opportunity to connect with people that we wouldn't normally, because, you know, it's out of our reach in a way. People from all over the world, different countries, different organizations. So thank you for bringing our attention to that and to the fact that we need to harness that opportunity today and tomorrow. Excellent. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to just share briefly a walk through the agenda of the day. I'm just going to share my screen. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. Oh yes, Natalia, sorry. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I just want to recall your word, and I'm very excited. I want to share that I'm very excited about the process of learning. That I think this workshop, as you said, the workshop is about the learning process more than the outputs. And I really take those words because I really think I'm learning, and I'm sure the outputs are very useful. Are going to be very useful, just because the process of learning are taking us through a very deep thinking and a thoughtful process of how we work and how we can put solutions. So I'm very thankful for all the for this workshop, and I hope that we all can learn together and share our experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natalia, and really appreciate that you bring to our attention those words from day one, because we might tend to look to lose sight of that it is about the learning journey, it is about the experience, and not necessarily about the output as such. And that, coupled with Patty's invite to take this methodology deeper into the work of each country, is also that invitation of that's where the output refines. That's where the output becomes more robust in a way. And for this, particularly for this first experience, it's about the experience. And then as we go deeper into the countries, then we focus more on the potentially on the output. but also it's about the way of thinking. And that is another key thing, you know. If we can leave this 3 days with this idea of innovation is possible, thinking out of the box is possible, and there is a path for that, there is a process that we can follow and that can guide us through, then that's a lot. That's really, really a lot. So thank you very much for bringing all of these reflections to our attention. I'm going to now share very briefly the agenda so that we can locate ourselves on what's going to happen for the next 2.5 hours. We have the welcome, the sharing of the reflections and the learning so far. We're going to go into an inspirational talk with 2 fantastic speakers that we have today, who so happen to be coaches as well. So you've met them already. And then we're going to move into the breakout groups work, where we are going to focus on defining the target group, and Fabian will introduce more on what this means and how we're going to walk through that process and create the how might we question. So we are kind of moving already from the sort of understanding what the current situation is and who we are trying to work with, to the possibilities, the future possibilities. We are already starting to build that path of change and innovation. And then we're going to have a small break, start brainstorming ideas, so fully getting into that immersive future and possibilities spectrum. We're going to have a quick method reflection, if possible, if time allows for that, where again, we're going to go back to these questions of what have we learned and how can this be useful to our work and how do we bring it back? Because ultimately that's what we want to influence. And then we're going to have a closing of the session. And tomorrow, I think it's the most exciting day because that's when we get to hear from all of the different groups, what they've come up with. Not so much from an outward perspective, but again, from a learning journey perspective. So without getting too much into the details of each section, and for the purpose of time, I am going to now introduce our inspirational talk of the day and our speakers. We have Elliot Powell, who's the Technical Director of Sustainable Coffee Conservation International. And we have Janina Tanure, which is the Head of Innovation, Business and Technology Transfer, Embrapa. Both of them are coaches, so you might have learned from them already more into details. But yeah, we're going to really take this 15 minutes to hear about their personal experience in an inspiring way. And for that purpose, we have put together a few fun questions that we want to potentially share with you all. And let me just stop sharing my screen and invite Elliot maybe to take the virtual floor. Hello, Elliot. Welcome.
Hello.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me back again.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking on the invite to be our inspirational speaker of the day together with Janina. And would you like to maybe share briefly, introduce yourself again to the group, and then we can move into the questions.
Sure, absolutely. So good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back here. I myself also enjoyed the kickoff yesterday and looking forward to another day of good discussion. So as was mentioned, as Sole mentioned, my name is Elliot Powell. I'm currently the Technical Director of Sustainable Coffee at Conservation International. I'll just mention that I am brand new at Conservation International, so it's a really exciting time. I'm about a week in. However, that being said, I come from about 20 years of experience in the sector of rural community development, and more specifically, the past decade I've been working with teams across Central America in developing extension service programs. And so a lot of what I'm able to share and bring to the group comes from the conversations I have with, or I've had over the past many years with smallholder farmers, with field trainers, with other sorts of partners. And so, yeah, happy to be here and happy to share and attempt to add some inspiration to the group today, based off some of the questions that I was given. And so, yeah, feel free. We can go ahead, Soleil.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Elliot. I'm just going to share my screen briefly because I think it's nice to share the question, because it's not a very traditional question that we're asking, although it does kind of bring the invitation to address some of the key essential points around the how do we go about innovating in farmer extension services. So, sorry. The first question is, Elliot, if you had access to unlimited funding, everyone's dream on this Zoom call probably, what would be your innovation bet to transform farmer extension services?
Question. And I had to kind of take a step back here, because you're right. It is always everybody's dream to come across an unlimited source of funding, unrestricted at that. And we could do whatever we wanted to reimagine and reform farmer extension services. And I'll say, just in my thought process, I'll share a little bit about that and then I'll share my answer. But my thought process was, there's no real one silver bullet. I fully recognize that. There's a lot that can be done. I think that's why we're here in this room together, because we recognize it's a really complex challenge, and the solution more than likely will also be complex. But if we threw away all the restrictions, all the strings, and we just had a big pot of money, I think back to a lot of the conversations I've had over the past many years with farmers that are listening to or engaging with their own kind of form of extension service, or lack thereof, hearing just as many complaints as you are the positive sides of extension services, where they're seeing benefits to their family, to the farms, and to the crops that they're able to produce. I think so I'm kind of recalling upon a lot of that when I attempt to answer, what would I do with unlimited funding? For me, I think it's important to identify what the goal would be. And I think the goal for all of us here is about building resiliency, building improved livelihoods, where farmers have access to markets, where they have new technologies, where they have facilitated means of thinking through their farm differently, where they protect the nature and the environment around them. So I think that if that's the goal, what would help us achieve that better? And we currently, and a lot of the stuff we're discussing yesterday, kind of the root causes of these challenges, is really an extension service, kind of generally speaking, that's disjointed, that's underfunded, that's disorganized, that's all over the place, where there's focus areas that might not align with farmers or with the community or with a region. And so what would be one theme that you could draw through that to really improve upon extension services? And, when you talk about innovation, there's my quick thought is, innovation, it has to be kind of tech related. And while I think that is true, there are some opportunities to leverage new technology with communication platforms. Maybe, I don't know, AI can get involved. But from my experience and my years of work and listening to farmers and sitting down with their families, walking through fields, it's really about human-to-human connection that I think farmer services can oftentimes forget, and especially in extension services. And so I would take unlimited funding and I would do my best to reimagine the current landscape of farmer services to be more farmer-centric, more human-centric, where families and communities are at the center of every solution that's designed. And I think on paper that happens a lot. You know, we check the box, we're able to say, let's do this. But when it comes to the practical component of it, is that really happening? And so I think really investing in simple technologies, simple design components that are direct technical assistance, field trainers working directly with families, farmer to farmer models that are farmers listening to farmers. I mean, that's the purest form of knowledge exchange that we're going to get in extension services and farm, where trust is already built up, where farmers listen to neighbors and hear what's working. And I think leveraging those networks is incredibly critical. And then finally, you know, farmer to farm or farmer field schools offer an opportunity of bringing classes together, farmers to learn in group settings where they feel, you know, they can exchange. And so oftentimes those sound very simple and they sound like, oh yeah, well, of course. But in a world where governments and policies promote finding more numbers, but with a reduced budget, these designs oftentimes get criticized as being too expensive and just not possible for the long run. So I would take increased funding or an unlimited funding supply and really make farmer extension services human-centered, and where, you know, the relationship that's built up between extension officer and farmer is built up over more than a year, multi-year, where knowledge exchange can happen at an organic pace, where local and contextualized information and appropriate solutions are promoted. And I think this all helps because I think we're all here because we recognize extension services is more about behavior change than a simple direct technology that can just happen overnight. We're talking about real sustained change, and you need a long-term approach to realize outcomes that you might not have even thought about from the beginning. And so, but it's oftentimes shot down as being too expensive. But I'm taking the funding to build Cadillac services, to build really built out services that are human at the core. And so, so yeah, that's my initial thoughts for you, Soleil, and for the group.
Thank you so much, Elliot. And oh gosh, I wish we had so much more time to go into what you've shared, not only because of the relevance of it, but also the depth and the humanity behind it, which, as you very well say, many times gets lost in translation into processes and policies and sort of outputs that are kind of detached from the actual human experience. So and the fact that we are working with living systems and living ecosystems, socially and environmentally speaking. So thank you for bringing that so clearly, so well articulated. I'm gonna share the last question, and it's like a one breath question for you, Elliot, and then we're going to go in to Janina. And the question is, in one breath, otherwise the genie will run away. Genie in a bottle. If you could make 3 wishes in relation to farmers' support and food and agricultural production, what would those be before the genie escapes? So you have one breath for that.
I will take a big breath.
Yes.
3 wishes. If I were to have my magic genie bottle in front of me right now, the 3 wishes I would make for improving extension services and food and ag or agriculture production, we go. Government policies that promote nature-based solutions and regenerative agriculture techniques, specifically soil health and biodiversity. Farmer access to information where everybody is on the same playing field. And then finally, as my breath is running out, increased market access and barriers broken down for smallholder farmers to reach markets. That's it.
Thank you so much. And you did manage to share them before the genie ran away. So amazing breath control. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yes, so we're going to now pass the torch to Janina, our second inspirational speaker. And Janina, also, you know, feel free to take any of the other questions if you want to delve into those. But the question that we had for you, given that you are obviously coming from Brazil, as we said, a country with a lot of experience on farmer extension services, a lot to share with us, with the rest of the world in terms of learnings and good practices. And you come from Embrapa, which is an amazing organization in this space. Yeah, so the question is, what innovations is Embrapa implementing to support farmer extension services in Brazil? And what else would you wish for? So again, you know, maybe we can tap into that genie in a bottle for you as well.
Thank you, Sally. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you all and learning with you. Well, as Sally said, I'm Janina Tanuria from Embrapa. For those who don't know, Embrapa is the Brazilian Agriculture Research Corporation. We are 43 research units spread all over the country. And Sally, I would like to give a step back, you know, as an inspirational talk here. I would like to tell a little story. So how Brazil is now in our situation, our agriculture situation, and how we got here, you know, because I think it's an inspiring history we have. And Embrapa, of course, my company, it's a key player in all of this. And as you said, we are a big country. I usually say that Brazil is not a big country, it's a continent, because we are so big and we have so many challenges to face regarding agriculture. And the interesting and inspiring history is that the Brazilian agriculture history, it's a successful history, because 50 years ago, Sally and everybody, in the 70s, when the Embrapa was created, Brazil had a critical situation of food insecurity. You know, we were food importers. And now, 50 years ago, 50 years after, we are one of the largest food producers and exporters in the world. So we have some history there, and because of many characteristics and many networks that were constructed during all this time. And you know that 1 in each 5 agricultural products in the world came from Brazil. Our agriculture feeds nowadays more than 800 million people. So it's a lot. So, and we have, of course, a lot of challenges. And Brazil, everybody, as you know, we are located in the tropical belt of the globe. So due to this, we have a lot of characteristics that it's challenging characteristics. We have a poor soil. We had the 70s, 50 years ago, a poor soil, an acid soil, problems with productivity. We have problems with logistic and transport because we have a huge country. We have different biomes. We have 50% of our territory is Amazon forest. And we have also semi-arid areas that are just like deserts. So we have to manage it all. And the Ministry of Agriculture, later on in the 70s, thought we have to solve this, but we don't have solutions available. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the technical solutions for this. So we have to build from zero. We have to create this model. So that's where Embrapa was created. So we are 50 years old now. We made this year 50 years. And we were created with the main goal of develop a genuine model for agriculture and livestock for tropical conditions, because we didn't have this. There, when Embrapa was created, we don't even had publications, technical publications to the farmers that were in Portuguese, that all the publications were in English. So it started a real robust network coordinated by Embrapa and other institutions, private and public institutions all over the country. We had state government companies in each state of Brazil that focus on extension services. So we, as Embrapa, we don't have so much focus on extension. We have focus on provide innovation, research, development solutions for agriculture. Then we have to bring together all these other players in Brazil, the state government, extension companies, private and public services, and universities. So we built all this network to work, and then we could develop a genuine model of tropical agriculture, and then establish the ways of this research and this scientific knowledge get to the farmers. So there's no meaning if we generate all this innovation if it don't reach the farmers. So that's what we are working so hard with the Ministry of Agriculture, because we are a public company. And we still have some big challenges, you know. According to our last agriculture census in 2017, we have 5 million rural establishments in Brazil. 70% of them, 4 million approximately, are small scale and familiar farmers. And this one, only 20% have access to farmer extension services. So we have a big challenge in how to manage all this knowledge and all this science and all this technology get to them. And we are working now in a very interesting project. It's a big program to digitalize, to go to the digital world, not only with training, just like Cristiano showed yesterday. We have a huge platform. It's free, so the farmers can access the knowledge. But we are also developing with the Ministry of Agriculture a huge platform for digitalization of knowledge. So with focus on small scale farmers and with focus on extension companies. So the extension companies can reach all this knowledge in a free way, and it's categorized by crops, by production systems, by problems. Just if you want information about how to deal with the climate change problems in agriculture, you go there. If you want to know more how to cultivate in drought situations, you go there. If you want to establish agroforest systems, you have a digital hub for this. So we are developing these digital hubs, so the extensionists and the extension companies, private and public, can reach this knowledge. Because as we were working in all these groups, sometimes we have the knowledge, we have the information, but it just don't reach the farmers. So we are trying to do this, but we have also a problem with connectivity. It's a huge problem in Brazil. And we are also developing solutions so the connectivity can allow these farmers to reach these solutions and everything. And I know it's, I usually say, Soli, it's inspiring history, because the history of the Brazilian agriculture changed a whole country, because we had a critical food insecurity problem, and now we are exporting and feeding the world. So, based on a sustainable, solutions, a sustainable agriculture, thinking of productivity, efficiency, and so on, conserving the environment and everything. So it's inspiring, because we are talking only of 15 years. So in Brazil, it's really a continent.
Thank you so much, Janaina, for such an amazing walk through the history of agriculture in Brazil, but how resonating and how important it is to learn from that journey for all of us. You know, if I had my genie in a bottle moment, I think I would wish for an Embrapa in every place in the world, holding that space of curation and really caring for taking that balcony view on farmer extension services and agricultural practices, and really holding that space of looking at what's missing and how to fill those gaps and how to connect the dots, and truly bringing that systems perspective into practice. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally,
for sharing so kindly and so lovingly all the work that you've been doing for the past 50 years, your organization, obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with this amazing inspiration, I'm going to pass it on to Fabian, who's going to lead us through taking in all of this into our own challenges and projects and work in the groups. So over to you, Fabian.
Thank you. Yes, welcome also from my side today. Yeah, so basically we want to continue what we started yesterday. So we are coming from analyzing the ideas or the insights which you already had about the challenge. And today we want to dig a bit deeper into the target group, which is about which is around the challenge and where they are located. So I will just shortly show to you the methods we want to use today. So it's basically just that you also see on a methodology level, because all what we did is also for you to use later on, that we maybe can use some of the methodology also in your daily work. So we also try to give you that method view on the workshop. So today it's about first finalizing the root cause analysis from yesterday, and then you will have a look at the target group, because of course, as we just heard, so also the needs and the challenges of the target groups and the different stakeholders are really important to just have in mind before we start to develop some ideas. And then we have the how might we question, which is basically formulating a question where you then start to brainstorm on. So that's kind of a methodology which should support you in focusing down the ideas you want to create. And of course, in the end, we will then have a brainstorming also with the help of some inspiration cards we designed for you. So, but your coach will then give you a more elaborated view on that. So that's what we want to go today. And how this day is now working, it's basically we don't have too much plenary sessions today. So that was basically our first part in a plenary. And now you would go into the breakouts, and then we see us after the teamwork for a closing again. In between, there's also a time for a break, which you then can do individually in your team. We also have some new people there, so bear with us. The coaches will try to give you a super short wrap up of what happened yesterday. But of course there were also already discussions running, but we try to keep you or to bring you up to speed to join the groups. Yes, I think that would be it from my side. Lavinia, are you ready with the teams and the breakout rooms already?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. And yeah, I would say let's just give it a go and have fun in the teams. And I wish you nice conversations and insightful morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. And we see us then for the closing afterwards. So have a great
in breakout groups virtually. And it wasn't enough time, probably.
No, it went fast. It was very exciting, actually.
It is, yeah. We were actually getting in the sort of gist of it. So yeah, very interesting. So we have a few minutes left, and it would be great to hear any insights, thoughts, reflections on how the process went. How are you finding it? How did you find this second day? James, I have you next to me in the virtual setting, so I'm wondering if you would like to share anything. I would love to hear from you, how you are navigating through this experience, what you're observing.
Thank you, Sole. So I'm in a group with Natalia, Maria Jose, and Lawrence. And we have diverse experiences, and we're coming from work with different types of stakeholders. And all I have to say is yes, it was not enough time. I think I was a bit hard on them to make sure that we moved forward and we weren't stuck on one portion of the exercise. But what I value is just the level of engagement and interest, and we're trying to dig deeper into the questions on each part of the exercise. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity, also just to become familiar with the process and the methodology. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much. And I can see a really interesting comment as well on the chat. And James, to your point, I think you're spot on in replicating the pressures of the system, right? Because in reality, we have this tension between everything that we wish to unpack and the limited time, and how we need to come up with solutions that feel partial in a way, because we cannot grasp the complexity, the whole of the complexity. So that tension between diverging and converging and going broad and deep and then emerging into action and the limitation, all of that is an amazing practice, I think. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry to take the mic again, but that just reminds me, I think it's important in this type of exercise where we do this convergence and this priority setting that we don't lose all of the richness of the big, all of the brainstorming and the ideas. So as a facilitator, I was trying to keep everything on the paper. I didn't want to lose anything. Because everything that was put is eventually valuable and can be taken up again in an iterative process.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. And we talk about some parallels between that process and nature, right? Where we have hundreds of seeds and potentially one turns into a tree, but all of them become input because they become fertilizer for the soil and for the tree, other trees to emerge. So no idea is lost or unused in a way. Everything is fertilizing and enriching the process of that one tree that might flourish, but the rest are still useful and helpful, even if they don't materialize immediately. Yeah, I was looking at the chat, and Michael was making a comment around to Kiganida in terms of the comment on removing need for inputs. Is there anything there that you would like to share with the broader group, either Michael or Kiganida?
Sorry, I thought it was in the previous chat, so it was just a comment that Kiganira made about, you know, it's if you don't have to put inputs in, of course, there's very little risk, and you know, there's no risk to your investment if you don't have to invest in the first place, and of course that would be the ideal scenario.
Right, excellent.
But
Thank you.
it's a very good point that you made. But yeah, sorry, I thought I was still in the other room.
It's okay, no worries, no worries. Just wanted to make sure maybe if there was something there to be shared. And yeah, anyone else? I think we have time for one or two more people before we close the day. Anything else that needs to be shared or that you would like to share in terms of this second day? How did it feel?
Too complex to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, the process, I felt it's complex, but I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, we have this thing, Malika, in our team that we say complexity is complex. No better way to address it than together, right? Because if you have to deal with it by yourself, then it's even more.
Yeah.
At least less fun, definitely. So
exactly.
This is a sort of a community way of dealing with the existing complexity, which is indeed quite high. But at least we are in it together. So
thank you so much. This is Kiganera Ibrahim. The previous presenter talked about something which I thought was too strong, is that I never wanted anything to be lost. We are brainstorming a lot, and you see a lot of knowledge and information, ideas, experience coming on board, and then we get out what we call the cream, and you feel like maybe this information left behind in terms of residues, it's also something very strong that could inform maybe a policy or something like that. So I think the people who are capturing this information should be too intentional not to leave out anything as long as it was presented in these meetings. I'm telling you, it's really too strong, and you really like, are we leaving this out? And we are not leaving it out, but we think maybe the way someone could develop it better. And also another thing, these platforms are too strong. Maybe the farmers are missing this. You find farmers' discussions which are not based on facts. The farmers, maybe they are not guided by the experts. They have discussions like this. So if we could have more expert farmers to carry out such discussions, you'd think it would be strong. The questions which were presented, you see them to be complex, but people, you start breaking them and start realizing that they are really things which can be done. So that's all I can comment about. It's really, really too rich here. We need to harvest as much as possible. And also all this information has to be found ways how it can be taken up to people to utilize it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kiganira. And I think it's a wonderful point to bring us to a conclusion of this day 2 and to inspire us to continue on day 3. Fabian, is there anything that you would like to say before we just say our goodbyes and see you tomorrow's?
Yes, first of all, thank you. This was kind of the peak of the whole methodology in terms of how dense the day was and how much methods you have been gone through. So thank you for the engagement and also sticking to it and trying things out. So I think it's also a lot about stepping a bit out of the comfort zone and trying new things in this kind of virtual environment. So thanks for that. And yeah, so tomorrow, depending on where you ended today, we will continue brainstorming and developing ideas and thinking a bit about the details of the idea. And then, of course, we will close the day tomorrow with a presentation. I think that's really, super interesting to see what the other teams, with which ideas and also approaches they came up with. As also we had several teams working on the same challenge. So I'm really curious to hear the different approaches you take then tomorrow in the closing and the presentation here in the plenary then. But tomorrow, we will start again at the same time and then continue basically on what we started today and then close with the presentation. So nothing more to add from my side.
Thank you very much, everyone. And we'll see you tomorrow then, last day. So thank you.
Thank you. Also to the coaches for the tough day facilitating through.
Definitely. The coaches are key in this process. So thank you very much. See you all tomorrow.
Goodbye.